This is Dr. Trond Seland, and this is a special edition of For the Love of Chiropractic, The Secrets of My Success. For many years, a good friend of mine, Dr. Robert Frieman, gets together with me on Tuesday mornings, and we share the secrets of our success, and we inspire each other and have helped each other create very successful practices, and we have enjoyed our fellowship over the years. And today, I am going to be the guest host, and I get to interview my very good friend, Dr. Robert Frieman.
Hello and welcome to Secrets of My Success, part of For the Love of Chiropractic podcast series. On each episode, I'll be interviewing one highly successful doctor or business person, asking them what are their 3 keys of success or secrets they've used to make themselves so highly successful. So let's get started with today's show.
Dr. Frieman, are you there?
I am here, Trond. It is great to hear you. Great to have you. Great to be with you, I should say. And thank you for doing this with me.
Hey, this is my pleasure. It is really good to be with you this morning. And so I think this is, if I'm right, the 90th edition of For the Love of Chiropractic. Am I right on that?
Well, 90 episodes have gone live. By the time this episode is live, there will be well over 100 episodes, and they just keep piling up.
That's amazing. You know, it just seems like yesterday that you and I talked about this dream of doing a podcast, and you told me that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to call it For the Love of Chiropractic because I want to share my heart with the community of young doctors to help inspire them to be their best versions of themselves. And so here we are, I don't know, what is it, a year and a half or so later, and you have absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark with your podcast. So I am just thrilled to be here with you this morning, and I'm just so proud of you. So, but let's get into the nuts and bolts of why we're really here, the secrets of your success. Tell me about your practice and how you got here.
Wow. Okay. So I've been practicing over 35 years now. Originally, my path into chiropractic, I was planning on being a medical doctor. My father was a medical doctor. I have a grandfather who was a medical doctor. And from the time that I was a small child, I'm making hospital rounds with my father. The patients ask, "Are you going to be a doctor like your daddy?" And I'd say yes, and like any good little kid would. And so, becoming a doctor was the only thing that I ever knew that I absolutely wanted to do and be. As I went through college with a degree in microbiology and graduated college, I was not accepted to medical school, but I was accepted into a Master's of Human Anatomy program, and I absolutely loved that. It was at the medical school, and what the purpose of that program was, they knew a certain amount of med students were going to flunk out, and on the other hand, they'd have replacement med students, because when you finished the program, you'd be a second-year student and keep going. Well, what I found in that program was I loved the human body. The more that I learned about it, the more fascinated I was and am. And that was terrific. And in learning about the intricacies and the nuances and the balancing, the checks and balances that the human body has, the more you learn about it, the more amazing it is, frankly. It's the most amazing machine on the planet. Yeah. And then as I was going through the program, they started sprinkling in, well, when the machine isn't working properly, here's how you fix it. Now, this was the late 1980s. That was a long time ago. But how you fixed it was always you overpower the body with strong chemistry to force it to do something different. We call those drugs. Or you just cut that part out because the body doesn't really need it. And that didn't make sense to me. The more that I learned about the balancing, the checks and balances that the human body has, the less it made sense to force it to do something else. The body's smart. It knows what to do. Something was amiss. And so I left the program, and that's when I met up with a fantastic chiropractor, a man who's still a good friend of mine. And he introduced me to this thing called chiropractic, and it made total sense. And I started school just a few weeks later. Went to
Wow.
National College in Chicago and graduated. Actually went to work with him as an associate. We had a short associateship. We parted as friends, and I knew that I needed to open my own practice to do what I thought needed to be done.
That's fantastic. That is a really cool story. And so now we're talking about what year? The late 80s?
So out of school, 1990, into practice, late 91, early 92. Yes.
Okay. So when you started your own practice, did you have a vision of what you wanted that practice to look like?
I did. I had visualized it. I had heard in a seminar as a very young practitioner, to visualize what it is you want in exquisite detail. And what I knew was the practice that I had associated in, and it was a really good practice. It was considered, high volume and successful for those days. And I had this yearning that while it was really, really good, it was great, in fact, I wanted more. I wanted more and bigger. So I was visualizing, what the reception room would look like, and I would see the chairs filled with people. I could visualize a buzz in the office of this is what it should sound like. This is the feeling that, the patient experience. It's what I want to provide. So busy, happy people. And so I had this vision of that's what I want to do.
That is such an awesome thing to have that vision, so you know where you're going to go with things, because as our good friend Larry Markson says, what the mind can conceive, the brain can achieve. And I know in your practice that you have taken it down to the detail of even the theme color in your practice.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh, purple has always been my favorite color. And, so for years I said, I want the color in the office to be purple. And my office manager said, you're crazy. You can't paint an office purple. I said, well, it's an accent color. And she said, well, maybe one accent wall. It's like, no, one accent wall is not going to be enough. So the purple that we use, it's a vibrant purple. It's just deep and rich and wonderfully healing and beautiful, and it doesn't scream, but it's there.
I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic, and purple was the royal color of the chiropractor, and I just find it fascinating that you went with that same color. Uniqueness is something that not many offices have. I've seen way too many white box chiropractic offices with an adjusting table and a couple of textbooks on the wall. And so thank you for sharing your vision for what you wanted to have. A lot of offices, the doctors come out and they're kind of mechanical. Obviously, you are not mechanical. You are very vibrant in everything, vitalistic in your nature. Did you have like a theme phrase or a mantra that you were working with when you started?
So, yeah, I think so. When my passion has been for many, many, many years. So, and I think this is where it goes back to my simple phrase is, I want to help as many people as I possibly can.
What a beautiful, simple mission statement.
And when patients come in the office, even today, and say, wow, you're really busy. How many people do you see a day? I'll say, my goal is to help as many people as I possibly can.
That's awesome.
Right. And
so,
right. I think the patients are asking a different question, but that's not what it's about. It's about helping each individual person to the best of my ability, to helping them live a better life, and then go on to the next person. I want to help as many people as I possibly can.
Sounds like you wanted to be the catalyst, to be the epicenter of transformation for people that would hopefully create a ripple effect in your community.
Yeah, that's well said. I think so.
So looking back over your 30 plus years of highly successful practice and having a highly successful international podcast now on not just for your heart and the love of chiropractic, and interviewing dozens and dozens of highly successful chiropractors from around the world, now it's your turn. I want to hear Dr. Robert Frieman shared the 3 keys of his success of over these past 30 years.
So, when you and I decided we were going to do this, I really had to sit down and think about it, because I've had the opportunity to speak to so many highly successful chiropractors from around the world. It's just been an amazing, fantastic journey. And so many of the things that these other doctors said just resonate volumes. And I really had to dig into my own heart, because I didn't want to take someone else's answer. Like, what are my 3 keys? And what I came up with is, number 1 is I would tell any young doctor or anyone who wants to be more successful, you need to decide your mission, your purpose. Why is it you want to do what you want to do? And if it's to make money, and look, that's important, but is that really the biggest mission you can come up with and think of? I think the mission, the purpose, needs to be bigger than you are, and you should just have this little bit of, for lack of a better word, fear that you're biting off more than you can chew. And I'm not saying you should drown in it, but your purpose, your mission is bigger than you are. Mine of helping as many people as I possibly can with phenomenal chiropractic care. Well, okay, that's more. I know it's more people than I can. So ultimately, I needed other doctors in the practice with me. The idea is to help as many people as possible. Okay, so I did coaching, to help other doctors help more people. Okay, I did the podcast with your encouragement. And why? Because we don't have enough successful chiropractors. The goal is to help as many people as possible. That's the driving mission. So that's my number 1 key. Decide what your mission and your purpose is.
And I love that yours is so clear and to the point, that you want to help as many people as you can. It has nothing to do with money necessarily, although that's important. We'll get back to that part of it. But the purpose in your heart was so clear that you could not help but get your hands on so many people in all these years.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So tell me what your second secret is.
So the second one is one that I have heard other doctors say, and I have seen doctors who have not become successful not do this, and it just screams volumes. The second key to success, once you've decided what your mission, your purpose is, you got to roll up your sleeves and do the work. You have to be willing to step into the ring. And if you're about boxing, back in the day we were talking about Mike Tyson as the greatest boxer in the world. You're stepping in the ring with Mike Tyson. You've got to bring your A game and give it all you've got. There's another good friend of mine. You mentioned Larry Markson. Another good friend of mine, Dr. Noel Lloyd, another friend and mentor over many, many years. Used to stand in front of the audience and say, "You got to go after this like you're killing snakes." Now, I'm not saying you should go out and kill snakes, because that we have to be nice to animals. But there's a passion there. You're not casually doing this. You've got a mission. Let's go get it.
That's awesome. Here's something that I do notice is that a lot of doctors start off with good intentions, and they'll just show up at the office, and then they kind of stand there like, now what? And they'll tell you that they've had coaching and they have decided what their mission's going to be, but there seems to be something missing that is the starter motor to a day to get things going. Yeah. So do you have anything that you do before you actually do the work that gets you going and focused before you even get to the office?
Oh my God, yes. Well, there's something called the hour of power that many successful people have used and talk about and even teach on. So how is it you start your day? And before the garbage of the world starts piling up on you, you need to set yourself. Even Tony Robbins said, "You are the gatekeeper You're the guard of what goes into your brain. Guard it carefully because the mind is an incredible computer and it will work the program that's put before it. So to build yourself up, as Larry Markson likes to say, your job is to build yourself up in strong and noble thought. Those are his words. So to start your day properly, and there's a routine that I go through, and frankly, I don't think it's important to go through that right now. But I think that certainly is one of the keys of success. And then driving to the office, I have one specific friend who I check in with every single day while I'm driving to the office. He's talking about his world, I'm talking about my world, and we finish with "Have a great day." And then I'm listening to the music that gets me going. Because when I get to the office, it's go time. Let's go get them.
Wow, it sounds like you are harnessing a lot of energy on the way to work so that you can be the best at work.
Right. I have found myself, frankly, speeding, and I don't recommend speeding when you're driving, but I have found myself speeding because I want to get to work. I want to get there. Let's go to work.
What a blessing to have a job that's not even a job, to be able to go someplace that you can't wait to get to because you're so clear on your mission. You've decided what your why is, and you are just getting ready to pour your heart into the world around you and in the people that they're not just your patients. I can hear that you love these people. They are like your extended family.
Well, exactly. One of the things that I say when I'm asked what makes the practice unique is, we don't take care of patients. We take care of people. Each one of these people who come to the office, they're a person with a past and with a history and with a story and with issues and problems and challenges in their life. Oh, yeah. And they happen to have vertebral subluxations. They happen to be suffering with headaches or neck pain or back pain or digestive issues, whatever it is. And yeah, we're going to correct the subluxations. We're going to improve their health to help the person live a better life and be a better mom, dad, coach, business person, whatever it is they're doing in the world.
That is so good. Man, I'm really enjoying hearing your heart here this morning. People are amazing, and what a gift to be chiropractors in this world, to be the thing that nobody else is. There's no medical doctor, there's no other exercise physiologist or healthcare provider that can do what you do as a chiropractor to help take care of people.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the second one, do the work. And tell me what the third success key is for you.
The third one is something that I heard and learned a long time ago. And again, I've heard many other successful chiropractors say the same thing. And for that matter, other business people. You need to get a coach to lead you forward. Business is expensive, and there's no reason to waste time, and there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. There is somebody who has been where you want to go and grow. So find them. They've been there. They know how to do that, and have them help lead you along that path. It's a shortcut to success.
That's such a basic, fundamental thing for people like you and I to hear that. But what an absolute truth, especially for the young doctors. I think that you can be in school for so long and then you think you know it all, but graduating from chiropractic school is just the entrance ticket to the real world, right?
Exactly.
And I think that it's easy to think that you know it, how you're going to do it, and you're going to do this on your own. But, the phrase we share now and then is iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, and you need a coach. And so when did you start to decide that you wanted to be a coach?
Well, it grew out of my passion of helping as many people as I possibly could. So I'll bet it was 15, 20 years ago. And both Dr. Noel Lloyd and Dr. Larry Markson, both phenomenal practice coaches, both gave me the opportunity, stage time as well as coaching advice and guidance. They taught me how to do this, and it just grew from there. I was actually at a seminar one night for a different company, and Larry Markson was there, and he pulled me aside. He said, "That guy you've been talking to, I know him. I know he doesn't have a practice coach, and I know he needs one. Do not leave this table until he is your client." And it was that final push, and that was my push, and so he became my first client, and just grew from there.
That's awesome. You know, there's a phrase that popped into my head by Zig Ziglar. It says, "If you will help as many people as possible get what they want, they'll give you everything that you need."
Exactly.
And I think it's so important to use your voice to share your vision and your passion with the world. And so it's not just in the adjusting, it's also in your words and your energy going into the people that makes a difference. And I love how you're using now not just your hands, but your voice on this podcast. So thank you for sharing your heart in this medium.
Oh, my God, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we know the 3 now secrets of your success: to decide your mission, to do the work, and get a coach. And so you apply these things. If we back out to the bigger picture, Robert, define for me what you would call business success.
So, I mean, to me, business success is to fill a need that helps the world be a better place. Now, in healthcare, I think that's helping people. But business success, is something that makes the world a better place. I think that needs to be the foundation of any business. And then the second piece on top of that is business has to be profitable. Breaking even isn't good enough. That's not getting ahead for the business, for the purpose, and for the business owner. Business has to be profitable. You can't lose money. Then that's called a charity. So business it needs to be profitable. And ultimately, the successful business is sellable. If you create a business that you go to and you work in, and you make a huge difference, you're filling a need, that's terrific, and you can't sell that, what you've actually done is created a job for yourself. And I'm not saying that's bad. And I've known people who've done that for decades, and then they close up shop and walk away. Well, okay, I did what I did, and I helped people, and that was the end of that, and I'm done with that. That's okay. But a successful business, once you're done doing it, it's been so successful, somebody else says, "I want to buy this from you. I want to take that over," and then keep running with it. So even after you've stepped away, it keeps making a difference in the world.
That's amazing. You say that so well. And you hit it right on the head that your practice needs to be a business, not a job. Because if it's a job, it's all about you, and you cannot transfer it to somebody else. And the business needs to be profitable. And a common thing I've seen is a lot of people have an issue with money, and profitability seems like almost an unattainable thing. So maybe at some point in the future, you can do a podcast on the importance of profit versus greed, and why it's good to be profitable as a chiropractor. You have a wonderful story about yellow sweaters that someday I hope to hear you talk about. Maybe you already did it in For the Love of Chiropractic earlier. I'll have to go look it up. But so anyway, thank you for sharing the thing on business success. I think that's really great, to find a need, fill the need, and make the world a better place. Again, a simple, profound statement. Love it. Now, let's make it a little bit more personal. You've been practicing for many years. You have touched the lives of many people. For Dr. Robert Frieman, for Robert the man, How do you define personal success?
So, when I started on this journey 30 plus years ago, I heard a definition of success that immediately hit me. And that definition was, success is doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want, anytime you want, just because you want. And while I like that, and it served me for many years, I actually don't. That doesn't really strike me as personal success. Well, and while that's true, it almost comes across as shallow. So when I sat down and really started, trying to answer, the questions that I've asked so many other chiropractors, what is personal success? What I came up with for me is a deep sense of interpersonal satisfaction and happiness. Knowing that you've made a difference, knowing that I've made a difference, and to a cause and people, to me that's important. In fact, there's a famous, very short poem that I always have a copy of, here in my office where I do the podcast. And it's the famous quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that I think, for me, it hits the home run. And Emerson, I add one word to it, but I'm going to read it quickly.
Okay.
And it's called success. To laugh often and love much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. And as a chiropractor, I'm a gardener, but I'm not a good gardener, frankly. But when I have goosebumps right now, just having read that, to know that even one life breathed easier, as a chiropractor, how many people do I get to adjust on a daily basis? And every single one of them is living easier and better because of that one adjustment. And to get to do that hundreds of times a week, over decades, it's hundreds of thousands of differences. To me, that's personal success.
Wow. Yeah, wow. You just said that, you're not a really good gardener. I think you have probably farmed one of the most amazing gardens ever seen in the chiropractic profession.
Oh, you're very kind.
And, BJ Palmer has this saying, you never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today will affect the lives of millions of people tomorrow. And I totally agree with you that making a difference in other people's lives is the best form of personal success, to have that deep sense of inner satisfaction that you have worked hard and you have done the job to the best of your ability, right?
Absolutely. And obviously, it's not just the people who get to treat the quote unquote patients. I mean, it's your family's lives, it's your friends' lives, to make a difference. And then it becomes a legacy thing, to be remembered. Well, it's not about being remembered, it's about making a difference. So, Trond,
that's a great legacy.
Yeah, I'm watching the clock, and I see our time is very quickly ticking out.
Okay, so I got one last question for you. Can a young doctor still become hugely successful in today's world?
Oh my God, absolutely yes. And I believe it is easier than ever. Because of the internet, because of social media, because the world is so opened up. I think it's easier than it was, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and certainly 50 years ago. Absolutely, yes.
So I would totally agree with you, But like you said earlier, there's an important key to be successful, and it was your third point, and that is to get a coach. And I know a fantastic coach that anyone listening, if they need some help along the way, this is the guy you want to call. What should be their first step?
The first step is decide that you're done with mediocrity. You're ready to dig in. You won't take no for an answer. I am going to do this. I'm going to get it done. And then once you've decided you're going to get it done, is to be open-minded enough to listen and take smart guidance. Don't be so bent that, well, I have to do it this way. If your mission is to get into the city as quickly as possible, you know what? Well, walking is good. Well, running is faster. Yeah, but you know what? There's a horse. There's a car. A helicopter. So be open to listening to, okay, I understand your mission. Here's how you can best accomplish it.
It's all what you got in the toolbox, right?
Yeah.
And then who's with you along the journey. So, well, thank you, Dr. Frieman, for this amazing and very educational, inspirational talk on this version of The Secrets of My Success. Do you have any final thoughts or any final words for this?
I want to thank you for stepping in, being the guest host. You have done a phenomenal job, and I respect, appreciate, and love our friendship and brotherhood.
I love you too. Thank you for all these wonderful years. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for spending time with me and sharing your heart with all our listeners.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. And that's our show for today. If you have a question about today's show or your own practice, feel free to reach out at fortheloveofchiropractic.com. Before making changes to your practice, be sure to seek legal advice regarding those changes and regulations in your state. For the Love of Chiropractic is an RGF production, all rights reserved. And thanks for listening. Original music provided by Hunter Rich Music.